Now, moving on to, I guess, my favorite, I call my baby interactive media, digital
Yeah.
media. Because after the film industry came out and started,
Hmm.
and involved in that, and felt, hey, I was writing for about technology, and we
Hmm.
don't have any industry here,
Right.
and
Right.
so Dan Henderson,
Hmm.
and who was very very involved in in economic development, who
Yep.
might be watching us today. Myself and other people got together, made this happen. So what's happening with interactive media?
Yeah, that's been one of our, another program that's been quite successful, and we've seen really a statewide impact with that particular program. We've got, anywhere from video game companies like Electronic Arts, who has a facility down here in Baton Rouge, to TurboSquid, to GameLoft down in New Orleans, to other video game companies scattered throughout the state, to traditional software development with companies like CGI in Lafayette and CSC. I think they were renamed CSRC up in Shreveport, that are doing some really amazing work and actually are growing much faster than they've even anticipated. So our program has been, a catalyst to help drive companies like IBM to locate not one facility here in Baton Rouge, but two, one up in Monroe as well. So these programs, have also encouraged our educational institutions to say, hey, we're going to need a workforce. Let's start training in the latest technologies. And so you have LSU, you have, colleges throughout the state community and technical and even some high schools getting on the bandwagon to start training our young people and our local residents to handle the workforce needs of a lot of these companies that we're attracting. It's still one of those programs that you sit back, just like film, and as a lifelong resident, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. You sit back and go, wow, we've done some really, really good things to move that needle along, to provide 21st century opportunities for our young people. And as a father of three myself, that's, I can look my son in the eye and say, Dad, can I be a video game developer in the state of Louisiana? I'm like, yeah, you don't have to leave. And so as a parent and as a lifelong Louisiana resident, I think that's important. I think most Louisiana residents that have left Louisiana are starting to see the opportunities and are returning. And, you ask any Louisianan at heart, if they're in France, if they're in England, if they're in New York, LA, wherever, they ultimately all want to come back home. And so I look at this and what we're doing here in entertainment as just that. We're enabling our people to come back home. We're enabling our young people to stay in the state, and we're giving them opportunities that once didn't exist. So I know that was off a little bit, but
No, that's it, and that's really important.
yeah.
Now, other than say the video games, what
Right.
other type of say business industries, productions? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've seen anywhere from medical technology and software being developed in the state. I know that the federal government a few years back, through some HIPAA and other laws therein, they're moving medical records and things like that to a fully digitized platform and things like that. So we've been the beneficiary of companies that are developing medical software, for example. You've got some things that as we move on in this technology-driven field, you've got federal government entities like the military that are moving to something as simple as HR and payroll, where a lot of that software is being developed in the state. So you've got a multitude of different things. You've got, GameLoft developing video games. You've got, my goodness, I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but you've got all of that. You got Moonbot up in Shreveport, which really is a transmedia type company. And by transmedia, I mean they develop products for multiple platforms. They're deeply rooted in the film world with their animation projects for more traditional, let's watch it on YouTube, or not YouTube, but Netflix, Amazon Prime, at the theater, to developing iPad applications and applications for multiple devices, whether you're iOS or Android driven. So we've got, a very unique we're seeing unique opportunities for cross-pollination within these industries pop up around the state.